This is our continuing series on unsound chess, and in this video, we look at the non-French version of the wing gambit. In the previous videos on the wing gambit, we looked at what happens when you push e5 and black has a pawn phalanx on e6 and d5, um, with the pawn on b4, his own pawn getting in his own way. And it's already off of c5, which would be the natural lever to try to remove the base of that pawn chain. So in this particular video, we're looking at what happens when we play our early d4, which is not the recommended move in the wing gambit, but it is the move I played and was taught to me by a grandmaster who specialized in the wing gambit. What it does is encourage black to push d5 early, which should give him some equality, but very often he just recaptures with the queen right away. And when that happens, we go through the following set of principles. We're going to develop as quickly as possible and trash black's Sicilian book learning. We're going to play c4 attacking his queen as soon as we can, even though he can take en passant getting rid of his doubled b4 pawn, because we're going to take back with a tempo with our knight on c3, which is now unprotected and encouraging black to move to a5 to re-attack that knight. Now you can also move to d8 or a variety of other squares, as you'll see in the upcoming game. At any rate, there are a lot of trappy things that go on, and it's an extremely sharp line. And it's sharp because what we want to do is, our goal is, wherever possible, to push d5. Even if it looks like it's not possible, it is plausible in many cases. And we're able to delay and stop black from castling. And that has a huge effect on the outcome of the game. Very often these games end really early. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and show you a game from somebody I played. It was only rated in the 2000s. They weren't rated over 2100, which is kind of a break with tradition here. However, the game is such a good example, I couldn't really resist it. Plus, I've never looked at it with a computer. And I just played this game last night, and so we're going to look at the wing gambit. I guess we're on the white side, so we'll. Now, as you see, the annotated version of this is suggesting knight to f3, and actually in the online analysis of this, it gave b4 as the only mistake white made in the game. So it actually didn't say it was a mistake, it said it was an inaccuracy. So that was Stockfish 8 and didn't like b4. So, and yet it only evaluates it as 0.15 down. So now the capture comes, and now d4 happens, which is not the recommended move, and now we're talking about black playing d5. Okay, so now that black's played d5, the question is, what is going to become of it? And our goal, as I said before, was not to push e5 in this situation, which is a course of action that is recommended a lot by computers, except for this program, which is interesting. And now, of course, it's recommending do not take with the queen right back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play c4. And I see in the computer line that there is a queen to e6 check line, so I have to wonder, this move had really never been played against me. Of course, it doesn't occur in the right sequence. So c4 is what we're aiming at. Now, if he moves his queen, we have this strong pawn duo, and we're going to push our d5 pawn. But it seems like about 8 times out of 10, black can't resist capturing en passant because it gets rid of his doubled b pawn, and we have to recapture it with an unprotected knight on c3. So I see the computer's recommending going to a5 afterwards, which is a retreat that's playable by computers. So now what we're seeing is the recommended move queen to a5, which would be followed by bishop to d2 and some very sharp play, is an even game. So in this case, black checked, and this is something I hadn't seen before, and I've had a variety of places where this queen's gone, but checking is not the best move. So as you see already, this has cost black the game. He's now down 2 after checking. So this is going to be a very short game. We blocked with bishop to e3, which was the recommended move. And now it's kind of interesting because now you see the computers all over the place scrambling for ideas. Um, it's finally coming up with A6, which apparently just allows the D5 pawn fork. So there are so many bad, dangerous things going on here. For instance, knight to B5 causes a lot of trouble, and there are all kinds of other things that are playable, like just D5, even if he moves his queen. So you're going to see what black was a panic. Black was, I don't know, rated in the 2050 area. So I'd say an A6, but here we go. Queen to G6. Queen to G6 is also a disaster because if you look at the position carefully now, you'll see that after D5, if his knight moves, we have the E5 square for our knight, and there's all kinds of things that can happen with checks on the B5 to E8 diagonal. Now, of course, he has to move knight to B8 because that affords the D7 square the ultimate coverage, but he moves knight to D8, which is yet another really bad blunder, and which now he's down 11. So, yes, this is not the best game by black, but it's giving you an example of how badly people can go wrong in a very quick period of time here. Not saying he should sack his knight back. And of course, the game's going to finish here really quickly. Now, it's kind of interesting to see that I wasn't given any mistakes or blunders because there is the family fork here, or close to it. Knight to E5 check wins the queen, but I checked with my queen. I see I'm up 14 anyway, so I'm not really that interested in his queen. I'm more interested in checkmate at this point. And now we're going to move rook to C1, which is practically irresistible. I'm going to be up 18. And once again, sacrificing his knight is the only move. He moved his pawn, and he just got checked. So this was virtually a perfect game. And by the way, if he moves king to D7 here, there's a lot of different mates that are kind of pretty looking, like starting with the rook check on C7. There's all kinds of things that can be very destructive. So, that may actually not be the best path. There's knight checks and probably mates that follow. Yeah, it looks like two knight checks made. So he moves king to B8. We get the check in. Computer says now mate in 6 if he interposes his queen. And we take an en passant check, and now it's mate in 1. So he resigns. So this is how terribly wrong black can go, how very quickly after D5 his position deteriorates. And it's an example of exactly what we were talking about in the non-French style of the wing gambit. Push D5 early wherever plausible. It was really easy in this case. So that's the end of our video, and I hope you enjoyed it.